I'm Stan Watt from Rotor Adventures. We're here today at Rogers Hill Raceway to talk through the Tenere T700 Crescent motorcycle bike and what we've done with it over the last few months. So everything we do to the bike is based around riding, taking your Tenere off-road. So with this, we're just going to go through some specifications, what we recommend, how things are working, and then you can actually build a spec of Crescent motorcycles to suit yourself. Okay, so we'll sort of start with the very basics. Obviously, this is the bike I ride day in, day out, trail riding, coaching, and some big tours through Portugal and Spain. So we've pretty much just finished with the bike for the last 2.5 weeks, 3,500 miles off-road. So we've tested everything sort of to destruction, if that's how it works, and we've been super happy how reliable and durable the bike is, just in general basis. And what we'll do is go through some of the partnerships and products we use to obviously just improve the bike a little bit for riding recreational or serious off-road. So we'll start from the front. Obviously I use twin wall 922 RC bend bars. It's just personal for me. They're a little bit higher, a little bit nicer on the body when I'm trail riding and long durations. We run the Pro Grip 709 grips. They're nice, soft, very similar to the Yamaha, a little bit soft but not too hard, so they're pretty easy on the hands. And we run the Cerbis X Future guards. So personally I don't like wraparound guards, so this is what we use. There's a number of different levers and specs for bikes now. I tend to stick with standard, but obviously the issue with that is if the bike goes over, there's a good chance they're actually going to break. Okay, but we run with that, and that's sort of the system we run up front. At the minute on this one, which has worked really well, we're running the SC Project Rally exhaust system. So this is a full system on there and works really well. We ran the bike up, just let it sit for a few minutes while it sort of settles itself when we first put it on, and it was absolutely no problem. It's been an excellent exhaust system throughout. So we'll go through the suspension, okay? And obviously this is very personal, and it's based on what type of riding you're doing, the weight of the rider, and exactly what you're going to use the Tenere for. So we've worked for the last 3 to 4 months developing different specifications to work with the rider, what they want to actually do with the bike, and realistically the durability and progression of the suspension. So front end we run a K-Tech full insert kit, and we've been working on spring rates and oil heights depending on what we're actually doing. So we've got a really good setup for general riding, a little bit of technical gnarly that'll actually hold the bike up and work pretty well. On the rear we just worked on the dampen and the spring rate. Okay, so for us we didn't want to go into developing a new shock, and because then it becomes very specific. What we wanted to build was a bike that you can actually go to Crescent motorcycles and say, I would like this, I would like that, this is my weight, this is what I want to do, and that spec can be built for you. Okay, so we'll go on to some of the partnerships we use to obviously develop the bike for more off-road riding. So we've changed the standard wheels to Envy, who've been working with us and actually developing a set of wheels for the Tenere. Still run a cush drive rear, and we run a smaller rim to obviously take on a more gnarlier tyre. We can run then mousses, and we've gone through a number of specs on tyres, and like we said, depending on what you're looking at doing, if you're looking at being on the road a little bit more, you would run a different spec on tyre. But for us it was to develop a bike that we can ride off-road, trail riding in the UK. So what we've found to be the best result is running Michelin Baja desert tyres with Michelin mousses. They're just a harder tyre, carcass wise, hold the bike up better, and the mousses are pretty durable. So with what we've got on at the minute, we've actually been able to get 2,500 miles off-road, some 2 weeks of touring in Portugal and Spain off-road. So we've sort of put it through the test, and it works really well. We use the bikes all year round, so the reality is we're in slop, we're in dirt, we're in mud, we're in clay, and it's the same when we go over into Portugal and Spain. So we've run a we've adapted this bike to have a high mudguard just to sort of clear the dirt through. So it's very simple. We use a service kit for this, for the plastics. We run a Supermoto high mudguard, and we've got an aluminium block built that will take the brake lines through from your master cylinder at the top all the way through to the calipers at the front. With this design, you can do away with one disc, you can go to a single disc, you can run twin discs, and again, at the end of the day, when it comes to sell the bike, you can put everything back to standard and obviously then pass it on to the next customer. Okay, so with what we've done with the Yamaha Tenere T700, this is a 2022 model, so we've stayed with as original as we could do to get the maximum out of it off-road. We've upgraded the suspension for what we're doing, front and rear. We've upgraded the wheels to take a more aggressive tyre and a mousse. And again, then it becomes a little bit of personal setup with handlebars, grips, etc., and how I run it for myself. So by all means, get in touch with Crescent Motorcycles or get in touch with myself at Rotor Adventures, and we can assist anyway with getting your bike specific to what you want to do off-road.